Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We have meticulous tops here at St Andrews. They gotta give us what we're longing for. It's burning up forever. Let's hear it from the stand. So come on, city, sing this song once more. We are the lads from Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We are the lads from Tilton. We'll support you till the end of the day. We're so happy following the blues. We love you, what more can we say? We are the lads from
Totally professional, we are, aren't we? Totally professional.
100% ready.
So here we are, another Tilton Talk, minus, I was going to say the star, but it's not really the star,
Not
is it?
today.
Not a star, no. Minus Nick DJ Spall, unfortunately. But in the studio we do have two guests. We have Paige Williams and we have Nick Skinner. Mike Skinner. Mike's. See, I'm thinking
You've got Nick on the brain.
I've got Nick on the brain. I'm going to blame Nick. I'm going to blame Nick.
Too much Nick.
Come on, Nick.
So,
Yeah.
so if I was really professional, I'd have this ready.
Ah,
But I wasn't. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Looking forward to doing it.
And now, Mr. Fun's going to take over just while I
yeah.
Get
So
some.
obviously, you guys are in. It was pre-planned before the game yesterday, but obviously, even better that you're in today because we are through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, beating Arsenal ladies 1-0 yesterday. Obviously, first of all, your thoughts on the game overall and the progression to the semi-final.
Well, I think we're firstly and foremost we're absolutely ecstatic to be into the semi-final and to have drawn Chelsea today. But yeah, I think people could have said that we maybe rode our luck a little bit in the first half. You know, they did have a chance, and I don't think we quite got what we wanted to do. Right, we've been working really hard to do that. And then second half, we just, we encourage the girls to kind of find their own answers as well as we just guide them. And then second half, I think, we really limited Arsenal's chances to very few. Although they had territory, they were really not really going to break us down. So, and then we got our goal, which we planned to do anyway. We planned to have that fast break against their back three.
Yeah.
And
So back three, which is basically a central midfield
central
three,
midfield,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Got
And
three central midfielders playing in
and
defence.
we'd seen that,
yeah.
and we'd previously seen. We'd watched the tapes against Tottenham, and we saw that was somewhere where we could exploit, and we did it. And I think the girls have been brilliant since I've come in anyway, and so yeah, we're really really happy to be in the next round and bring on that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned about the first half, and Arsenal did have a lot of the ball, and I think as well from a fan's perspective, it was almost that we were just waiting for half time, and so we could settle down a little bit. And I think the last 15 minutes they had the majority of their chances in that last 15 minutes of the half. And Catherine made some really good saves, 2 or 3 really good saves. Stood big for one, I remember, against Dan Carter. So
Yes.
she played her part in that. But the second half, as you said, I think from my perspective, it was, and the people that were around me, we always thought there was a goal in us.
Yeah.
We didn't really have much of the ball, but something that we speak about a lot on the show in terms of the men's team at the moment, Blues men, is that Arsenal did have a lot of, like you say, a lot of possession, a lot of territory, but it was possession without really hurting us. They never really got in behind us, and I felt the longer the game went on, as you say, the possession they had, but they weren't creating the same chances they were in the first half.
No.
And as long as you keep it 0-0, you're always in with a shout.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always had look back last year and previous years, that we've always had a really good defensive display, and we've always put our defensive attitudes, they've always been there, they've always been present. However, what we want to do going forward, and we're very early in the project, and I must stress that, we are 2 months into our project, and we hope to dominate possession in the future with purpose.
Yeah.
So what was really good for me to see was that actually we've not changed anything from the resilience the team has, the attitude the team has to want to keep clean sheets, because then you only need one goal.
Yeah.
But in the future, moving forwards, we want to dominate teams. We're here. Look, we've said it. I've said it a lot to my players. We're not here to take part. We want to take over. That's our aim in the future. Our aim is to be really successful, and we've got to work hard for that. We know how hard we're working for that. We're not just saying this. We're going to work extremely hard to make that happen. So, yeah, they had a lot of terror. And you'd expect that. Arsenal have 15, 20 years in their project.
Oh, yeah.
So it's ingrained the way they play. So when we go forwards, and once we understand how we want to play moving forwards, and that goes all the way through the kids, all the way through the RTC, then it's looking really bright going forwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paige, from your perspective as a player, obviously the longer the game went on, did you feel that, maybe there was more of a chance that we were going to nick it at the end, and there was a lot of belief, especially after the goal, that we were going to hold on?
Yeah, 100%. They dominated possession most of the first half, and the thing we have at Blues is belief within the team, and you can't buy that. No money in the world can buy that, and that's what we've got. And the girls stuck together, and even if, say, we went a goal down, the belief would be there to come back. And I always believed we were going to win the game, and that's what you need before the game, during the game, no matter what happens. And we got the win in the end.
And obviously, your position as left wing back up against one of the stellar names of the pre-season, Heather O'Reilly, American international, coming in, and obviously then you got Kim Little as well in the middle. It can be a pretty daunting task to see those names on the team sheet, but as you say, the belief was there that we're not just there to make these look good and make hard work of them. We want to beat them as well.
Yeah, me and Heather had a good little battle on the pitch.
I wasn't going to mention it massively.
A few words in each other's ear, but that's all part of the game, and I think she suffered more from that than me, because I'm used to that. I'm used to the English game. She's rolling around crying for yellow cards, and she's already won a free kick, so she's still adapting, and yeah, I can take that all day.
Yeah.
I'll just catch up on a few questions.
Yes.
Because there's quite a few. Cracking win with the ladies, Chelsea next, says Mike Shaw. We need to sack the DJ, that's me. Can some ladies team play in our first team just to give them a lesson in football? Says Robert Dole. Somebody's asking whether I feel better this week. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I feel great. Yeah. Right. Sam says, Chris, can you ask Mike what his perspective is on coaching tactically in regards to it's best for a coach to stick to his morals and get the players playing the way he likes, or is it better to find a tactical plan that suits the players you have at your disposal?
That's a really good question. You want Mike to answer that, or Marc?
Where is Mike?
Where is Mike? Mike's not here yet.
Mike, come on.
Nick, Mike.
Yeah, so he's getting as well.
Sorry, could you repeat that? It's quite a long question.
I think really it's relevant to the men's.
We've had the same question, haven't we? Yeah,
with Zola coming in, obviously, and the plan was to implement a new attacking brand of football, and it hasn't really worked out. So with now we're in a bit of a relegation fight. Does he stick with that, or does he abandon it and make us hard to beat again in a relegation battle? From your perspective, do you stick with your morals in that position, or do you say, okay, it's not working, abandon and go to what the players are good at?
I think we have an overreaction in England to worrying about positions too much. What I mean by that is, what I've tried to get into the girls is, are you playing an area of the field? For example, if Paige now has to cover on the right-hand side, is she now all of a sudden a right wing-back? If she's there for a sustained period of time, is she a right wing-back? Well, all I tried to do with the girls so far is to embed principles so that, for example, if you're on the right-hand side of the field, in central midfield, and then you go into a forward role, what skills do you need? What techniques do you need?
Yeah.
Because techniques build tactics.
Yeah.
So, because it's such an early project and the spring series is slightly different, we get a chance to embed that. So with the Zola, I get why potentially he might want to, in his ideas, improve maybe the way that Gary Wright's football was perceived, but the results spoke for themselves. And I think if you look at Birmingham, our results have spoken for themselves for a long period of time. However, I've always been just left a little bit wanting for the performance as well, and it's a fine balance. So for me, it's about developing my players technically first and foremost, giving them a lot of principles to play, giving them the belief to go out and play, and then you can add tactics to that as you go throughout. For me, it's about overloads, underloads, and I think it was Slaven Bilic that said that the tactics, so the shapes will die, so formations will die in the future if you want ideal football. It's the ability to transform in and out of those. No disrespect to the FATV, but they put us down as a 4-4-2 on as a formation. So it's what somebody sees, so it's an opinion. So for me, it's based around principles, morals and techniques. Once you have those, you can create any tactic. You can create something beautiful from a tactic then, but you've got to have the techniques at your disposal.
I think it's flexibility as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But without compromising on the defensive attributes and the attitude. Without those, you don't have any techniques or tactics. So I think we're going right down to base level. A great bunch of players I've got, and I'm really looking forward to pushing them forward.
Absolutely.
Paul Gill says, get this coach working with the men's team. Sounds like he knows how to organise a defence.
He's on having them.
Yeah. As one of the defenders as well, I'm sure you could amount for that. But going back to that, the dilemma for a coach or a manager to stick by his principles or to play for the situation of the club. As a player, I don't know if you've been in that position as well, where obviously the coach or the manager isn't sure which system to play or how to play. How does a player react to that from a player's perspective?
I think you have to take it game by game, depends on who you're up against. Like our next game against Chelsea, they've got to frighten them from free, so we'll have to prepare for that. I think preparation's the key for all of it, because if you prepare well and you stick to the game plan, things will change in the game, and then that's up to the players to how they react to it. But I think it's playing what you see, and every player being comfortable and being uncomfortable. So you need to know if you can be put anywhere on the pitch and have an idea about the role. So I think every player can take responsibility. If I end up striker, then you need to give it 100% playing striker. So
that's a really good answer.
Good answer.
Sam says Arsenal must be sick to death of us playing us in cups.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But do you know what? I put on Twitter to that yesterday, and I'm still, you wake up and you think, over the last 5 years or so, being a Blues Ladies fan, we've actually knocked Arsenal out of the cup, which is amazing, really. But they have been the bogey side for us on the ladies side. Obviously, the 2011. Carling Cup win was special as well. So I think we've got our comeuppance that lately. So
I know you're all worried about Nick. Well, apparently he's got stuck on the M42. He may join us.
May.
I thought he was here.
No, that's not Nick.
That's Nick.
I've actually got some graphics now, and I've made your name bigger and bigger. So we've had a couple of francs in, and
that's
you're going to
fine.
get that.
That's fine, of course. I'm going to get that.
Question for both: what is more important, general training or match preparation?
Good question.
Who wants that one?
There's going to be some good answers.
Being judged.
What's general training?
So for
every day.
So basically improving what we're doing on the pitch for you. So
I think you can mix the both. First half of the session, obviously, but the beginning of the week you'll look to review your previous game. That's a good way of prepping for the next game. Then you'll go into some skill-based stuff. But I think at Birmingham we have a mix, so we'll start the session or end the session with some technical, and you can practice that all day long. You're never going to outrun that. What was the second half of the question?
What was it was match day.
What is more important, general training or match preparation?
Yeah.
Towards the end of the week, I love doing the match day preparation because then you're really fine-tuning your game plan. You know, we go through set plays. The set plays will be up online, or so we can have a look at them. And then that's really everyone knowing the job and knowing, right, this is what we've got to do.
And I suppose with the different opposition as well, it's always
changes,
different as well, isn't it? So yeah, there's different elements to. Even you could be playing Arsenal twice, but they could bring different players in, so it'll all change. Yeah.
And that's where our staff are so important for us, because they don't just come to the field and then go home. They go home and they're watching games, they're analysing, they're making clips for us. So the stuff they do behind the scenes is really important. And
how integrated is the ladies team with the men's team? A few people have asked that. I mean, how is it, or is it?
No, it certainly is. It's over the last couple of years that's even grown even further. I know that the board of the men's as well, and Panos and Joe, they had a kind of big part into saying in me coming to the club and me taking the role. So not only financially have they increased what they give us this year, but they're exceptional. For example, we're playing Liverpool at home in May at St Andrews. So again, just another it's so fantastic. Their support has been nothing but exceptional for us, and long may that continue. They've been brilliant. For example, Panos was at the first game as well against West Bromwich Albion. So their support is unwavering, and hopefully, and the thing that you don't potentially see is the support staff. So for example, Heather Cowan, our general manager, she's at the club. Zoe's at the club, and Chris, our RTC centre manager, he's at the club as well. And they're almost embedded in the fabric of the club, and have been really welcoming. I've been in, you've been in. We've had conversations with all of the HR staff, and they've been super welcoming. So the link is better than ever, and long may that continue.
Yeah. I think it's worlds apart from the time with the golds and things like that. So it's on a completely different level altogether from that. So
can I just say that somebody's just said the GR word, and I hope he does know the forfeit is £1 in the pot. Thank you very much. Men's season ticket holders get free entry to that Liverpool game apparently as well, which is
there's a bonus.
That's fantastic.
Come on down, people.
Yeah.
You'd hope for 2,500-3,000 plus for that. I think it's on a Sunday. It's the week after the men's season's finished.
Yeah.
So it's not like people have lost the bug for the men's season. It's only the week after, and like you say, for season ticket holders to come free, hopefully we'll get a really good attendance for that one.
Bring your families as well, because it's such a good day out. All the girls have got time for the kids after the game, so it's not just come home, watch a game. Like a little bit with the men's, it's out of touching distance. You stay after the match and chat with us, come on the pitch, have a little mess about with us. So it's really good for the family, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Penelope Wood is going to put a quid in the pot, or she's telling somebody else to put a quid in the pot. Robert Dole wants to know what the average gate is for the ladies' football. I know it was a bit down yesterday, wasn't it? But I think that was
Mother's Day.
It was Mother's Day, and it was a bit.
I don't know what it was.
It was decent for West Brom.
Yeah, it's
about some decent.
1,122.
Yeah, I think it was just over 1,000.
The round, I think. Out of all the teams, we got the best crowd.
Yeah, and I think Liverpool only had 300 and odd at their quarter final. So I think it was a bit of a victim of circumstance with it being Mother's Day. So you'd hope it'd keep improving as the season goes on.
Yeah, and look, we want to improve our performances. Yeah. We want our performances for people to come and watch us and go, that's a team there. That's a team that looks to play football, but has that ruthless edge that scores goals and also keeps clean sheets. Yeah. So we said that, although we beat West Brom, I've said to the girls that if we maxed out on 20% of our performance potential, then I'm being kind. we've got a lot more to come, and we're going to be working really hard to make it a spectacle so that people want to watch what we do and grow our gates that way. You know, we're not silly enough to know that, of course, if we're successful, we'll grow gates, but we want something to watch. You know, you look at Manchester United and it's called the Theatre of Dreams. You know, we want to turn our game into something worth watching, and I think that's not a criticism of the previous how it's gone, but we were very kind of dogged, rough and ready, dogging, nobody wants to play, and we need to mix, we need to have an eclectic mix of that, and also the ability to make people go wow, that, and clap. You know, it's a spectator sport. You know, you're there to watch something and enjoy it rather than, you know, just support it because you're a loyal fan, and we love that, by the way. But we just want to add a little bit more to give them a little bit more back. Especially,
as you say, you know, like if there is a brand there that people enjoy watching, even neutrals, you know, if they've got a choice of 2 or 3 games, come to ours because we're playing the decent stuff.
Exactly,
so,
that's what we want to do. That's our aim going forwards, and the girls know that, and they're right on board. Hence the reason we sign people like Paige.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Some of these questions are pretty obvious to us, but I mean, Steve wants to know where the ladies play.
Yeah, it's at Solihull Moors. So yeah, that we've been there. Obviously, our game against Chelsea will be there as well. And then there's a 5-game season package that you can buy together. Which again, the 5 games for this spring series will be there. So
I think that'll incorporate the Chelsea game as well.
Yes, it will. So
if you get that soon, it'll be like 30 quid. 30 quid for the spring series, which is the 5 games, but you'll also get the Chelsea one in there as well. So.
It is a bargain, and hopefully it'll be something worth watching.
Dennis wants to know, what's the best games you have both been involved in, playing, managing?
Okay.
There's a question there.
Well, mine would be simply Arsenal, just because it's the last one in the memory. I hope the next one is Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Wembley. That's what we want, and then Wembley. Those would be the ones that we build. And you know, this is my first managerial job as in senior level, but you know, management is management of people. These are people before they're players. Yeah. So it's quite an easy balance for me. I'm sure you'll have quite a few games that you'll recall. So maybe I'll pass the mic over to Paige.
Come on.
Yeah. I played in the final of the European Championships at under-19s level, and we got on the whole campaign without conceding a goal. And we were playing France in the final, and it was up until the 118th minute of extra time, and they just nicked one. Well, it was an own goal, actually. I won't say who scored it. Yeah, but she's been on the show. And she's ginger.
Oh yes, yeah, we know.
If you can have a guess.
Yeah.
So that's a memorable one for me. But when I won the league in Italy as well, that's the first senior trophy I've won, and it was pretty special. Yeah.
Well, we're going to go on to that. Obviously, you've joined from this season for the spring series and hopefully for the future ahead. But before that, you spent time 2 clubs in Italy as well. So from being at Everton as a youngster, how old are you now?
22.
22. So you know, as a youngster at Everton and then going to Italy, you know, not a lot of people in the women's game or the men's game make that step, especially at such a young age. What motivated you to do that, and B,
can I just say I've got a shirt older than that?
Pardon?
I've got a shirt older than that.
You've got a shirt older than that. I haven't. But like your motivation for that and your experiences over in Italy.
I think I was just stuck in a bit of a rut at Everton. I loved my time there, but I had a bit of an injury and I was struggling to get back, and I'd always thought about moving away to America for uni. And my mum was like, "No, you're not going." And then the time come, and Brescia played Liverpool Champions League, and I got speaking to one of the managers, and she mentioned she wants the defender, and I was like, I'll come over and see what it's like. So I flew over. I was there for a week, and to be honest, I didn't like the trial week that much. I was like in the middle of nowhere, no one spoke English. I was like, get me back to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then I got home, I had a little chat with my mum, and then she was like, encouraged me to do it, and thought, she's always said don't go, but now she's like, you know what, it might be right for you. And so I just packed up my little car and I drove 17 hours. Got there and then loved every minute of it. Made some good friends, learned a bit of the language.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And then I made the decision to go to Verona, which probably wasn't the best decision looking back now. I got persuaded a little bit by different things. I had a bad agent, and then I was sort of looking for a way out, and then I got out of the contract there and found Blues.
Yeah.
And it's honestly the best thing I've ever done. I've never felt more at home in a club than I have. I feel like I've been here 2 years, and I've been here 2-3 months, and I'm loving every minute.
I think that as well, that element of one family as your club, you know, especially with your players. Obviously, you mentioned you were in England under 19s with IFA as well, so you know a group of the players as well. So that family element of it and that togetherness is massive, really, as part of the squad.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Paige was lucky enough. Everton, a pretty similar club to Birmingham. They're always got a family, and quite a lot of homegrown players,
coming through.
And you know, we were just missing a scouser in the changing room. But no, the one thing that Paige has brought more than anything is just she brings a lot of personality. Paige, forget the wonderful left foot, forget the ability she has. The ability to bring good people into the environment has just upped again. It's kicked us on a little bit. And no, I've been part of this family for about 13 years now, and I'm so proud of what we've achieved as a group of people, as a group of players, and so we're looking forward. Like I want to grow from within our club. You know, we've got a lot of babies coming through that are going to be exceptional in the future, and we have to keep giving them tests and so on. And adding to our quality of people like Paige is exactly what we're here to do. Yeah. You know, it was a no-brainer. As soon as I knew Paige was on the market, I contacted her agent, and who was a really nice guy as well, by the way. And yeah, it was a done deal for us, and she's going to be a really fantastic acquisition going forward. So yeah, a family club, and she's more than part of it already. Yeah,
without wanting to make you blush or anything like that, the West Brom game and obviously the set piece to open the scoring, but even yesterday as well, we didn't get a lot in the first half, but there was one occasion where you broke down the left and put an excellent cross in, and just divided Ellen. And it is those kinds of things where if you are going to play the big three as such, and you might not have as much of the ball, but if you've got someone like Paige, set pieces or putting a cross in from wide, you've always got a chance of nicking a goal that way.
She has literally a wonderful left foot. It's a tremendous left foot. Her right's not bad either. She might not get to use it as much, but her left foot, but her touch, her calmness, her aggression when it's channeled the right way, when it's controlled. But again, just that gamesmanship, you know, it's fantastic.
Apologies, there's a lot of questions, and I have missed a lot of questions as well. Question for Paige: what tips has Paige got for the youngsters starting out in girls' football, and does she think the FA is doing enough to promote it?
My advice for the kids would be enjoy your football. Enjoy being at your clubs, enjoy learning different positions, get to know your basics. Are the FA doing enough? Yeah, I think so. It's one of the fastest growing sports, I think, now in Europe. And now I go to the park and I see a lot more girls playing. When I went, people would look over a little bit, and I'm not that old. So now, to see the kids playing in the street, it's no different when the girls joining in with the lads. And that's so nice to see. And I hope it just keeps growing and they get the opportunities that we're getting now, if not more. So it's exciting if you're a young girl coming through, and just stick at it right through high school. You know, you get to an age where you think, oh, do I want to start going out with my mates, or do I want to stick at it? And that's where you make the decision, and then you get good times like this, and it's paying off.
Absolutely. The things like the FA Cup final being at Wembley, and the BBC broadcasting the upcoming Euros and things like that, it does raise people's attention and interest as well, which obviously makes an impact as well.
Yeah, the media's massive for it. You know, everyone's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So as much as we're out there, the more people will watch.
Absolutely.
Can I just read the statement from regarding the game against Liverpool? It says that the change of venue from the ladies' usual home at Solihull Moors shows that the ever-increasing unity between the men's and ladies' team after the announcement in November that Blues ladies had formally become part of the Blues family. It's a testament to the increasing popularity that women's football has sustained over the last few seasons, coupled with the success of the England team that finished in third place of the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup. There we go.
Absolutely,
He knows his
yeah.
stuff,
It's
that
a big
fella.
statement,
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Very good.
I think we had the Champions League there a couple of times, but with the bigger interest and things, I know when Tim came in last time, that was something he wanted.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a part of bringing Blues Ladies to St Andrews. So for it to happen in the spring series is a real positive, and hopefully there'll be more of them in the future
Yeah,
as well.
I hope so, and hopefully we can grace it with the right performance.
Yeah.
Another one for Paige. Can you ask Paige how she's adapting to life in the West Midlands after living and playing in Italy?
Do you know what?
It's the
About
same thing.
10 people have asked me if I'm Irish.
Oh, really?
And I say, no, I'm not. Like, I'm from Liverpool. It's a bit more sunny here.
Yeah.
No, it's
Really?
yeah. No, it's just the same as Liverpool. The people are really friendly. I don't feel too far from home. You know, I'm only down the M6, and the time had come in Italy for me to come back. I was never going to live there forever,
Yeah.
and the time was right to come back. And yeah, I actually love Birmingham.
That's good to hear, yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
My daughter plays football and the standard is good. Going back to our earlier question,
Yeah,
it's
about
good in
grassroots,
girls,
yeah.
ladies, and football. Yeah.
Um,
As long as Zola doesn't get involved, Paige can be successful.
yeah.
Wow.
He's not a massively popular figure on the shout box normally. Paige, in your opinion, do agents aid or cause more harm to a player's career? Obviously, Marc mentioned your current agent and was excellent with bringing you here, but you also had a problem with your previous agent, so you've got experience on both accounts of that.
Yeah, I think don't get an agent until you're older than me, as old as me, because you don't need it. My agent in Italy, he ruined the experience there nearly for me, and that's why I left halfway through the season, because he didn't have my best interest.
Yeah.
My best interest probably would have been to stay at the club where I just won the treble,
Yeah.
not move for money. But I can be honest and say that I went for more money. Coming back, I found an agent that he deals with my cousin who plays for Everton Men,
Okay.
and I really trust him. He bought into me. He was not just after things like giving me the contract of what he's going to get. It was all about what was best for me, and we made the best decision together. And he said from the start, you know what, I've got a good feeling about Birmingham, got a good feeling, and he's got me best place where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I think you just need to find an agent you trust. Don't go some of these big with loads of followers and forget that. Go and meet them face to face and get to know them.
Is it something you do yourself, or is it the club that sorts out your agents, or is it?
I think you can either way. They can approach you,
Yeah.
probably more than likely. If you feel like you want an agent, we're part of the PFA now, so I'd say, I mean,
That's
anyone.
good advice.
Yeah.
So are the players at Birmingham that don't have agents, or do they all?
There are a few.
Yeah, there's a few. I think you don't need it unless you're coming back from abroad, you're negotiating contracts and you don't know the club, or
Yeah.
but
All right, that's interesting.
they can ruin the game as well. Some agents can, because they're just thinking what percentage they're going to get.
So it's really about finding the right one,
Yeah.
really, rather than just making sure you've got one. You've got to make sure that it's right for you in that sense.
Yeah.
The thing that I've found is it can be disappointing when some of the people take a cut of a wage that is nowhere near relevant to
Yeah.
where the men's
Yeah,
are
yeah,
at.
yeah.
So to take a cut of somebody's wage, that's one of the players' wages, for me you have to do something to earn it, and a lot of them, you know, place people at clubs and then you kind of never speak to them until they want to know again for the next contract.
Yeah.
And for me, my advice would be to speak to the PFA and then speak to the club. And I get why players do it. They want to protect themselves from the clubs. There are some managers out there that would. I've been quite open to all of my players, and I'll speak to them exactly as I speak to their agent.
Yeah.
It is, I'm a very truthful person, and this is what you get. This is what you're going to get. If you want to negotiate anything different, then it will come out of your cut, and your agent will have to take that, because there are some good agents who are trying to do it properly, and there are some people that are loosely termed agents.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
Absolutely.
I
bad.
think earlier we thought the checkbox might be a bit slower tonight.
I know,
but
yes, it's flying,
nice.
yeah.
There's some great
I got
questions
one
coming
from
up.
Paul Gill. I was at Goals Saturday with my lad session. It was the ladies' FA People's Cup weekend, got to say there were some amazing players and some great skills on the ball, but none of the pettiness seen in the men's game really impressed. I think that's something a lot of people say when they first come into women's football. There a lot of people I've introduced. It's they're surprised at how hard and how tough the players are, but also the fact that it's refreshing not to see a lot of the antics that go on in top level men's games.
Yeah, I think there's a pureness to women's football, and that's just something, you know. And again, I've seen teams previously try to play like a men's non-league. Well, this is the elite. This is women's elite football. So it should. Women are technically excellent, and that's not all of them. That's not stereotypical.
I mean, obviously, I was there supporting Blues, and I'm delighted we won. But to be able to see Kim Little, you know, on the ball for 90 minutes, you know, someone technically that gifted is, you know, it's really impressive to see.
But again, and this is the one thing I'm a really big believer in, that Kim Little is technically gifted based on the fact of how much work she's put in. You don't just turn up and then 10 years down the line you're just a brilliant player. You've worked hard at that. And that's what I'm trying to instill in our players. Just doesn't matter what age you are, you can get better at the performance level. And my job is to make that in training, that they get better at that, because you want to be better at something, you want to buy into it. It's just the girls buying into it. So the product, the girls are good enough, and this is the elite level, so there should be performance basis with it as well. Not just kick it down the field and lump and hope for the best.
Chase it down.
We need to have a performance. Most of our girls, a lot of our girls are in the next generation squad England. So we're looking to produce a next generation for England.
The full squad,
That's what we're here to do. You know, we need to grow our players. We might not be able to afford to go and buy the ready-made product, but that's part of my job. That's the part I really love.
But you've been doing that for 13 years, haven't you?
Exactly. That's what I love to try and make players. And I didn't sign Paige because she's the finished article. I can know what stamp I can put on Paige. I know how far she can still go, and she doesn't know how far she can still yet go. So there's a lot of work to do.
What's your pedigree? Where have you come from, Mark? To people who don't know.
Georgina Skinner and Paul Skinner, those are my parents. But no, basically, I've come from coaching at the Centre of Excellence. I was a Centre of Excellence technical director. I actually employed David Parker, believe it or not, as he came in as a coach, and then
he didn't do too bad.
No, exactly. So we find the coaches as well as we find the players, and I think that's really important. So coached at the Centre of Excellence. I've literally done near enough every role at the club, barring the first team manager until this point. I've been Laura Harvey's assistant. I've been the goalkeeping coach under Marcus and Mickey Moore back in the day. I've been reserve team manager, Centre of Excellence director, as it was at that time, RTC technical director at that time. I've coached at Coventry City Boys Academy. I've coached at Solihull Moors, and basically my day job was a teacher. So I travel all of that across into what I do. Teaching and coaching are very, very similar. It's about planning, preparation, and then delivery. It's about allowing those people to express themselves. And I'm a very humanistic person, so I jest about coming from my parents, but my parents give me a really good upbringing, and I'm very, very levelled and very down to earth, and I know I have to work hard for what I get, and so do my players. So my morals rub off. I'm a very moral person too.
I mean, I remember 5-6 years ago, as the WSL season was breaking through, and me and my partner were going to games, and we were coming to the development games as well, which you were leading, and then obviously there's players like Coral, who were coming through at that stage, who are now in the first team, who you're managing again, and things like that. So it is that progression from within, really, that you've had this experience, you've got this blues in you, if you like,
absolutely.
And that's hopefully going to stand in good stead.
Well, I left the club 2 seasons ago. I'd just done too much, and then I got drawn back in when they needed an RTC director, technical director, and then I just fell back in love with the club, as I always have been. You know, this is the only female club that will ever really exist in my eyes, and that's why we have to make it successful. It has to be successful. I will not rest until this club is successful, and that means a lot of not resting. That is my job. My job is to make sure that my players know how I set the bar. I set the bar and they chase it, and that's what we have to do. And then we'll get the next player, and then they'll chase the next one and the next one. And I'll state this, and I have to state this: we are not the underdog. In anything we do, we have to get rid of that label. My players have to believe in their performance, believe in their qualities, and then we will be successful. And if we're not, it won't be for the lack of trying. And that's what we need to do. You know, we need to be clever in what we do. We need to recruit at the right times, but actually, they need to work really hard.
Yeah.
And our product over the next couple of years will rise and rise and rise, and that's what we should be looking forward to.
Yeah.
Sorry
I think
about the rousing speech.
Yeah, but do you know what? As a fan, it's amazing to hear your manager speak like that, you know, and have that much passion. And I saw on social media that obviously the FA Cup semi-final draw. But people are still, obviously Liverpool have won the league twice.
Yeah.
But it's a big 3+ Blues.
Yeah.
And within the media, do you know? But from your perspective. For me, I don't mind that one bit because I know that we've had one iffy season out of 7.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and everything else has been really, really competitive. But if the media want to think that, and other opposition fans want to think that, that's fine by me. Do you
that's fine.
Subscribe to that as well?
I cannot adjust or adapt anything. I don't really care what other people think, to be honest. It's only care what's within our camp. What we do is, you know, I don't look at the other teams. We look at their weaknesses, their strengths, what we need to do, but then we focus on how we get better.
Yeah.
So for me, let them think what they want. You know, if they want to, it'll be at their peril if they think we're the underdog for too long. And with that will come challenges. You know, changing that mentality will come challenges. But our players will understand that. They've already started to believe. Do you know when you just have those conversations and you see that little wry smile on the people's faces, the little seed of belief? That's what I've started to get. And that's all I've asked. I've done nothing miraculous. We've got down to hard work. And we'll add that quality as we go throughout. So let them believe that we're the underdog. That's absolutely fine for me. I'm absolutely fine with that. But not once in our changing room do we say that we're the underdog. We have to go out and impact on the opposition that we play. And again, the Arsenal project, hopefully in a couple of years' time, once we're further down the line, you see a different performance. So that actually we can dominate more of the ball and that going forward. So... you know, no, we're in a good place. We're at early beginnings, but there's a lot of positive signs so far.
Fantastic.
Can't help but notice, Mark, but you're pretty young.
I'm not that young. How old did you say I am? How old is Mike?
Okay,
Mike's
okay, yeah.
Go on.
Police competition. How old is Mike?
How old? Go on.
I would say you're no.
Come on.
You're no older than 32.
I'm actually 34.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I recently had my birthday recently. Yeah, so I'm 34. And
you're an old git.
It's probably exactly there. You go. Like probably because of me, my hair's quite short on the side, but once that grows in, it's very much grey.
Yeah, I get mistaken about 34.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Easily done.
Easily done,
Got a question from Sam. Paige, what players were your inspiration growing up? And Mark, what similarly as a manager or coach, who have you looked up to as well?
I think Farrah Williams was always massive for me growing up. I grew up in the same
Everton,
environment as her.
Yeah.
I remember my first session, she megged me about 4 times and I went home and said, Dad, I'm not going back. I can't handle it. The ball was moving, everyone was moving, and the way she plays is effortless. She can ping the ball, she knows where it's going before it comes to her.
As we've unfortunately seen from the halfway line a couple of
yes,
years ago. So
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And in the men's game, Xavi Alonso is actually my favourite player. I just think he's the coolest man alive.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout, that,
So yeah, they're my inspiration.
I get a lot of stick. I put Alonso above Gerrard as terms of Liverpool players. I'm a fan of Real Madrid as well, so I've been to see them a couple of times, and just to see him, like, it is the word you used, it's just cool, it's just it's so effortless, and he just exudes confidence, and you look so comfortable with him in your team. Like, I think a lot of their success, even though Gerrard Alonso got a lot of credit as well, but having someone like him alongside Gerrard must have made Gerrard's life so much easier with Alonso by his side. But sorry,
Can I just say, Steve Kibble says, have we warned Paige about the sense of humour 10 to 15 minutes from the end of the show? We might have to just abolish that. Gets a bit.
That's it. The shout box goes into overdrive with about 15 minutes left. People get a bit out of control.
Oh, okay.
Denny says, how refreshing to hear a player say they moved for money. If only the men's game was the same. I think it means didn't move for the money. I don't know. I think Paige needs to go on Sky and tell Neville and Carragher to stop chatting rubbish.
Going back to the coach
Yeah.
situation, your who you looked up to, or
Yeah, I mean, there's some real standouts. For me, I'm one of my absolute almost all-time heroes is Brian Clough. You know, he once said that.
I think a lot of people would say that
yeah,
as coach or manager, wouldn't they?
Exactly. I think he said about he believes in fairies, and people will question, can you do things better than anybody else? Well, that's the job. I'm not in this job to do anything other than try
to do
and
the same
supersede
as
and
other people.
other people, and be more successful. Like, my job is and make it look better. That's my job. That's the pressure I put on myself. My players don't put pressure on me.
Yeah.
I put it on myself. And then, I'm a big fan of, and it's not just because recent, but Pep Guardiola, the ability to be fluidly moving through the gears, through the formations, through the shapes. It's not just set routine, and then there's some big kind of overseas kind of Argentinian kind of routes. So Marcelo Bielsa and Jorge Sampaoli.
I think is probably the next big one, isn't he? Sampaoli, I think.
And I think people look at that and they jump on the bandwagon, but watching his tactics and watching the way that they move and the fluidity on the ball and how their shapes move, it's almost like, and we have quite a few sayings such as like swarming.
Yeah.
So if you see a swarm of bees, how fluid the movement is to press, and also kind of like if you're watching a flock of birds and how when they move in the sky, that's almost what we want our shapes to be in the future. So that actually you couldn't really tell what formation.
That
you start.
unpredictability,
Exactly.
Definitely,
if my left winger ends up as my right winger with them, as long as we've covered that, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blimey, says Mike Shaw, is a young Eddie Howe. Sack Zola, get him in as manager. He talks a lot of sense.
No, he's ours. Stay away.
And then there's a few that I can't repeat. Do the men's team make an effort to come and support the ladies' team? Says Paul.
Sorry, what was
Do
that?
the men's team come and support the ladies' team when they can?
It's really interesting. Paul Robinson contacted me on Twitter to congratulate us for getting through to the quarterfinals. Through to the the quarterfinals when we beat West Brom, and said that he'll be coming down to watch very soon. So that's the only contact I've had so far. Obviously, Panos and the board and so on will come down, but that I'm sure that once their season is and what they're not training as much, I'm sure they'll come down and hopefully they'll come down and support us. But no, I'm sure Paul Robinson's a really big supporter. I know he's a big friend of Karen Carney.
I think he was there a couple of times last year as well, I think.
Yeah,
so,
and he brings the family down, and again, a really fantastic, what a nice guy to kind of reach out and do that. And I think Mr. Birmingham, he kind of will kind of walk through and give us that support going forward. So yes, I think there is. There's also, for example, a really big blues fan who comes so Charlie Williams, who's boxing very soon. He's boxing very soon. So we should all he's got his tickets on sale, so we should really go and support him. But he's there every game. I know he's a big fan of Paige Williams because obviously got the same name, and he wants one of her shirts. So, but again, people like that are really important to us moving forward, as well as all the die-hard fans. They're the best.
I guess the Karen Carney question.
I
thought
a couple of people mentioned that name. Yeah.
You looking forward to that game?
I am.
Yeah.
I love Karen Carney to bits. We're really friends. Her and my partner are very, very close best friends. So I know I texted her today actually, just to say I'll see you at Solihull Moors, and she went, it had to be that, didn't it? So I'm sure she's looking forward to come back. She's in great form at the minute, as she always has been.
Signed a new contract.
Just signed a new contract, fly in, and so she'll be one that we really have to look at. How can we stop Karen Carney? But I'm sure before the whistle and once the whistle ends, we'll be super friends. But as always, we're ultra competitive when we're on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a game.
It will be a super game. It'll be a super game.
Aluko as well in ex-Blues connection, so there's a couple there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a few.
I guess I know what the answer's going to be for this page, but Dennis wants to know, what's the best manager you've ever worked with?
I just seen that on the screen. There's two actually.
Okay.
One is Mo Marley. She's been based at Everton for years, and she was my England manager, and she taught me how to be ruthless, and her tactics or philosophy or whatever it is you learn your basics, and that's a bit what Everton's about. You learn your basics and then you develop from there. So Mo has been massively influential, and not just because he's sitting here, but Marc puts belief in every single player, and he makes sure that as a team you know what you're good at, you know where we need to work on, and he makes sure that we go out onto the pitch every day in a positive environment, and we go and we have a good session, and we learn and we develop, and that's what you want from your manager. We look up to him.
There's tenor sliding across.
Yeah, it's 20 actually.
But yeah,
Don't tell the angle.
they're the two.
And reversed, really, the best player that you've ever worked with.
Oh, that's a really good one. You know what? I don't know enough about my players at the minute, and to single one out would be being fair. I'm sure that I'll have a lot of squad, but I will say this, and I always have said this. My partner's Laura Bassett, and she's the best player that I'll ever work with. Her commitment to her cause and her commitment to her craft are unwavering. She's faced so many ups and downs throughout her career, and she's the one that she's always driven me forward in understanding where the level is. So, for example, when I talk to Paige, I talk about the level that she must get to based on the fact that I live with a woman that trains her hardest every time she goes out. She's fully committed, and she's known within the women's industry as kind of like the go-to person for that. And so she would be the best player that I've ever worked with, and I'm sure that there may be some in the future that will eclipse that, but for now she's the one.
Stuff. Another one from Marc here. Do you play Football Manager?
I don't have time. I genuinely didn't. I used to, obviously. I did. I actually was. I can't remember. It was Championship Manager when it used to be Champman.
Oh, right.
And I was actually on the game. I was actually on the game. If you got to 2020, whatever it was, on that game, I think it was 2012's one. I was down as a goalkeeper for Hereford United, and then I signed myself and went on to make England, but I just kind of doctored my scores. But no, I don't have time. And again, the one thing is with Champman, Football Manager, I never really got the training principles because I kind of like to train differently. Yeah. So when you put something in that makes a tactic over there, I didn't really buy into that. I kind of like to put my hands on what you're doing and affect the people. And you can't really affect the people if they're just words. So that's why I don't play. But it's a great game. It's a great game. Get it if you want it. Great game.
What's your team? What's your team that you supported as a youngster?
It was Aston Villa. Just only because
how many viewers did we just lose?
Yeah, no,
everybody's just gone.
The system's just gone.
No, the only reason I was brought up to support my local club. I literally lived 5 minutes from it. But what I will say is my sisters have worked at Birmingham City in their ticket office, and I've actually had a season ticket at Birmingham for 2 years. And I don't really see. I get the rivalry, of course I do, but you know that we're all there's a lot of friends that cross across the clubs. For me, Birmingham City Ladies is my only club. But
come back.
And again, I love this club, and I've been to the men's games to watch them. We were recently there. We were on the pitch at half time against Wigan, and you know I love this club. It's such a family club, and you know what? I think Midlands football has suffered for the last however many years, and I think we need something, a beacon, and hopefully we can be a beacon in the women's game to kind of give some kind of good cheer back to people in the Midlands, because there's so many brilliant people in this city that unfortunately are not being rewarded for their footballing for their footballing team at times.
You mentioned Laura she's a Villa fan, and she lifted the FA Cup for us.
Exactly.
So do you know what? That's fine by
There's only one female club in our eyes.
Certainly. Somebody did put earlier, going back to the men's side. Obviously, with the connection to the men's team, it might not be something you want to answer too in depth. But Zola's transition at Blues, Zola's time at Blues, where do you think? Is there a point where he went wrong? Where you can pinpoint it, or is it just a number of things haven't quite gone his way? I
just think that the results aren't going the way. I really have watched the performances, and again Gary Wright done an absolutely brilliant job, and I'm sure he'll do the same at Derby. But
did you say Gary Wright?
He did, yeah, and you have.
Oh, you're not allowed. Okay, sorry, I do apologise.
No,
is that what
it's
GR
the fans,
was?
yeah,
Is that what
it's
the
the
GR?
fans.
Okay, sorry.
The amount of times we've been talking since the sacking,
Okay.
and people have said
Okay.
like,
Is it
time
like
to draw a line
Voldemort?
on
Like Voldemort?
it is, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so, okay.
it's either GR or the current Derby manager.
The previous
or
manager,
whatever, yeah.
That fella.
That's
the
it,
Mike who was around here. No, basically, did a great job. I think Gianfranco has tried to add a style to Birmingham to kind of make it again watchable, and unfortunately they haven't got the results. We all know how one result or two results here will turn that mood and mentality. I think from what we understand, the players are right behind the way that they're trying to move forward, and I'm sure that if they stick with him, which I hope they do, that he gets the opportunity to prove the style that he wants to put in. Because again, from what I believe, he's he was a magician, wasn't he, as a player?
As a player, yeah,
So hopefully he
and
can
everybody does
transition that
say
across.
what a likeable guy he is.
From what I believe, he's a tremendous guy.
I look back at it actually. His first game was Brighton at home, and it was live on TV, and we went 1-0 up with about half an hour to go.
Yeah.
And they scored twice in the last 10 minutes, and you think if we could have held on then, and he could have started with a win against Brighton, how differently things might have changed.
Exactly. I watched the game against Leeds as well, and I thought that we were unlucky at that point, as in
a lot of people praise the Leeds performance, and you
just
you
needs
do
the goal,
come out of it wondering how have we lost that 3-1, but
and just needs those goals at the right times. As look at our performance. We wouldn't necessarily, our performance was great on Sunday, but actually we got the goal when it mattered, and we were able to then defend. So there's a real fine balance, and I'm sure they'll find it.
Yeah.
Leonard said, Leonard's in Queensland, Australia. He said, worse is yet to come, but we are safe and still able to listen to the show. Something happened over there. Don't know. Keep right on. Great results against Arsenal. Well done. That's Leonard from Queensland.
Thank you, Leonard from Queensland.
He's Zola still our manager.
It's one from Dennis for Paige. Close your ears.
Okay.
If a so-called bigger club, naming no names, came in and offered you more money, would you be tempted?
Before I came to Blues, maybe. Now, not a chance. I seen this is no disrespect to the Arsenal system, whatever, but I seen them girls on the pitch and they don't look happy. Don't know if it's because we just beat them.
Yeah.
But money can't buy you happiness. As cliche as it sounds, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in an environment where I love my team. I get up and I'm excited to go to work.
Yeah.
It's not work. It's just
Play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And so no, all the money in the world, I wouldn't leave Blues right now.
I think if you're in a job and you love doing that job, you've cracked it.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
feel real, to be
Yeah.
honest.
That's it.
Years pass quickly, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm the same with me coming into this job. From being a teacher to coming in to people that, and again, no disrespect, that mostly don't want to learn, don't want to experience and get better. Whereas I come into highly motivated individuals every day with loads of different experiences, and I wake up literally about 6:30 every morning. My body wakes me up and it says, "Come on, and let's go. We're in now." And then, as you see tonight, we won't get back till whatever time, but I'll be straight away watching the game again against Arsenal. Looking forward to.
In regards to training, is it training and things like that? Is it a full day? I mean, is it a long slog?
Well, no, it isn't. Like we try to keep it down to around 90 minutes, but with variance in it. So we look at the technical aspect. So this week we've got 3 weeks to build up for the semi-final. So what we'll do in this is, because we're still aware of the bigger project, so we can't take our eyes off that. We're not just going to sacrifice what we're trying to do for the end target, which is in 3 weeks. We'll be in a better place after that anyway. So this week will be all what we do before we get the ball. So next few weeks will be before, during, and after we receive the ball. So all of those, and that could be a defensive transition and attacking transition. So these girls will know exactly what to do when they get on the ball, or what they do before, so the next person creates a chain of reactions and movements. So that's what we'll be doing in training over the next week or so.
Are there still some players that aren't full time, do have
other jobs and things like that? I mean,
Yeah, I've got quite a few kids go to school. You know, they're constantly putting on the group chat. This is what I love about it.
Right, okay.
They're putting on a group chat. Can someone get me from the train station? Can someone pick me up from college? So there's not one ego in this club. Like, we've got kids coming through who are fighting for their place. They're keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
No one's complacent,
That's good.
and it's just such a nice environment.
Yeah.
But their commitment levels are like superb. Like, although we have players that are not full time, which we ideally want to change going forward. Which I've said to my players, look, we need to graft hard at our project so that we can provide opportunities for girls going forwards. We're not just in it for ourselves. We have to do it and leave Birmingham in a better place for the next generation of kids that come through. And I don't want them to forget that. So at Birmingham, our girls will not forget the hard work that it takes to be a top professional. But they give up a lot, and our training sessions, ridiculous numbers. We get ridiculous numbers, so we get up to 20, 22 training consistently, and these are people getting out of college, coming into train, and we have a fantastic development programme where all of our girls can come through and taste what first team's like at the right appropriate times, and then they can dip back in and dip back out, and you know, with people like Paige and, you know, Ellen and the rest of the group coming in, they just give us that they're so good with them. They're so good at nurturing good people, and it's people before players. It has to be, and that's what it will be under any team that I have.
Sorry for not knowing, but I mean, is there more than one team in the ladies' team? Is it like a second team, third team?
The development.
So we have our development team.
So it's a development.
And then we've got our, like, would be a men's academy, so our RTC. So we go from under 10s, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have in the club maybe 100 players.
Really?
Yeah. So we've got 100 players. It's a big project. It's a real big project, and it's a fantastic project because you look at our first team and how many players are coming in and how many train with us from the development and the kids. It's really exciting times. We've got a lot of good people coming through. A lot of youth internationals coming through each. And, you know, we've recently just had a girl called Maria Timms come through the RTC. She's under 14s playing in under 16s. And she's now in the under 15s England's next England.
And we've
camp.
had Hannah Hampton the last couple of days in the under 17s as well, haven't we? So.
Yes, absolutely, and they just keep coming. These girls just keep coming. So credit to the staff. Yeah,
a question from that side of things to the other end of the scale. Obviously, with David leaving when he did, a lot of the fans were a little bit concerned about which way the club was going to go, and you know, I think his statement about not fulfilling his needs, if you like, that the club were after. But then we go out and sign Ellen White. So how did that come about? Basically, that opportunity to sign her, and really, was it? Don't really want to have a go like a pop at Davey. Was it?
No.
But was there just a difference of opinion there, do you think? Or
I think maybe we'd exhausted our opportunity to exploit the English market, and that's just, I think, a kind of accumulation of time. So we went into the foreign market successfully, and we have fantastic, you know, I don't like to call them foreign players because they're not players, but you get my principle, and so, you know, you could call you foreign from Liverpool, really, but well, she's Irish, you're Irish. So what happened was that we came back in. Obviously, I've been around women's football long enough to know near enough everyone, all the England internationals that go away to England, and we see behind the scenes because of Laura and so on. So I know all of the players. Ellen White was out of contract. I spoke to her agent, went through it professionally, and then she was interested. We had a conversation, and you know what the selling point to Ellen White was? It wasn't about money. It wasn't about her contract. Me and my assistant, Leanne Hall, we sat down with a project in front of her, and we said, look, these are video clips. This is where we think you can improve still. As an England senior international who scored a winner in the She Believes Cup against the USA, the hosts, we can improve you. And we showed her where we can improve her, and she will improve, and she will score goals. And she's already seen her tremendous attitude, her professionalism,
work rate,
and her work rate. And again, we don't want her. I said it in the press, and I don't know if it was misquoted. Her fantastic work rate, But this girl has
So much more.
than just work rate.
Oh yeah.
She has so much more, and again, as do all of my forwards, by the way. But we signed her based on the fact that she's hungry to be better.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and that's how we signed, for example, Paige. We wanted Paige to come in, and Sarah Malin and Emma as well. We signed these players because we can make them better, and they're the people that you look at and you go, okay, potential in the potential part. Well, actually, we're here to untap potential. If we can't ready-made buy it, as some clubs may, we will make it, and that's what we're here to do. That's what we pride ourselves on.
Absolutely.
So,
I think from the fans as well, it's, do you know what, you can, if people want to go and buy the 2-time best player in the world, go and do it.
Of course.
Because,
You're not going to...
but do you know what?
Yeah.
If we can get Chloe Peplow to play for England one day, do you know, even equally, if not more, that's far more appealing to, I think, to a proper fan of a club that loves seeing building from within and things like that. If Chloe Peplow and Paige and Aoife and Ellie Brazil can play for England one day, then do you know what? As a fan, that is so much more appealing than going out and buying your ready-made signings and things like that.
You know, I sat down candidly, but also seriously. I sat down with the development team when I first came in, and I know most of them because they go to the college. And I said, I pointed the finger quite expressively, and I said, "It'd be your fault if I have to sign players in the future.
Yeah.
If I have to go and spend a transfer fee, it'll be because of you, because you've not fulfilled your potential." And there's a lot of ownership a player has to take. You know, we only see them for a select amount. So Paige talks about being professional. We only see them for a short period of time. We can guide, we can mould. The players have to have ownership of their own way, and we will give them everything and we will guide them. But they have to. The best players in the world are the ones that take everything seriously. They flip it. They can have fun, but they know when enough is enough to get back on the field and work. Yeah. And their attitudes have been absolute. All of my players have been exceptional, and they're fighting for their places, which is good. Healthy competition. You previously looked at that, and we potentially didn't have that.
Yeah, I think that's over the last few years. You looked at the bench and you think, okay, really, are they the game changers there? But like you say now, you there's people who aren't even in the matchday squad who you're thinking, do you know what, if they played, they'd make a big impact. So,
exactly, and that's where we're hopefully getting. And there's people that the potential I see in training, people don't even know yet. So there's a lot to come. Yeah. There's a lot to come in this project.
Here's a great question. This is for Paige.
Here we go.
Someone's probably asked this, but I don't think they have already. But if Paige hadn't made it as a footballer, what profession would she have took up? There's another part to this as well, but I'll ask you afterwards.
Oh God. I'd probably open my own coffee shop.
Really?
And run that, yeah. I like the idea of being a manager and managing people and controlling things a little bit. I can't see.
You're after a job.
I couldn't see me. I tried university for 4 months. I think I lasted just to keep my mum happy. I said, yeah, okay, I'll try it. And then I went to Italy. But yeah, something active, something different every day. So yeah, maybe that.
And the second part of that question is, what plans have you for when you finish your career?
I want to open my own soccer school.
Okay.
I'll probably start. I mean, I've got some ideas already. Probably start in Liverpool, be for girls predominantly. Because when I was a kid, in the 6 weeks, you could go to the school and they'd put sessions on. But it's not really. It wasn't amazing. You just go and you play for a little bit. But I'd love to really work with the young girls coming through. You know, maybe be a feeder for the RTCs and just help develop the kids. Really.
Good answer. Fantastic. I know it's not Bruce related, but after last week's chat on the internationals over the weekend, I tuned in for the one match. Mr. Fun was in favour, and I'm so glad I did. England, Jermaine Defoe. Take oh yeah, it's talking about the Bradley thing.
Yeah,
it's completely off the track of what we're talking about. But it's worth it.
You know, it was nice, you know, and I think they've developed a relationship with Sunderland as well, and for the country to see it on such a big occasion at Wembley like that, it was really nice for the young lad, and obviously Defoe, it meant a lot to Defoe as well. You can see that friendship means quite a lot to Defoe.
Small, that massive small.
But footballers do get a lot of stick, and the one thing that annoys me is that footballers don't really care if they win or not. I've never bought into that. If you're a professional and you've got to that top level, then I don't believe that is possible. That as a professional you can't care, but to have that relationship with a fan as well, which Defoe's obviously got there, and he has really bought into the Bradley story. So it was nice to see that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's the thing you were trying to talk about earlier. Where that connection to a footballer.
Yeah.
Like obviously that we've seen that story play out, and what a fantastic story is. And I think going back to the women's football is that actually you can have that a kind of story. You can get to know the players. And I think it's a really nice blend.
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's a young fan who's Aoife's biggest fan, isn't there? And,
Mini Aoife, she's
yeah,
brilliant.
she is. Yeah. But she's. And there is that connection there. There's a young girl there who might want to grow up and want to play football, and she looks up to a women's footballer. Where for that to happen now is really good to see.
There was a young girl. Sorry to interrupt. There was a young girl that came on the pitch at the end, and she didn't want a photograph, and her mum asked me to take a photograph with her. And I asked her whether she's going to play here in the future and so on, and does she take part? But another young girl that just has access to, no, of course, no problem. Come and speak to us. Like we're people, we're human. As are the men. But it's just you never get access to them because there's like thousands and thousands of people. Yeah. Fortunately, at the minute, it's still small enough to kind of have that personal relationship with people. So
you're being described as you've been described as a GR type person.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've got to be careful how I say it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
The previous
former
manager.
Former manager. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing now, though. If you're not.
Robert wants to know: have you ever listened to the show or watched the show, or have you heard of our show? Be careful what you say.
I watched it. Sorry, I watched earlier. So I watched on the fantastic YouTube channel. I watched a rerun previously with Dave, Tim, Karina, and Marisa, and then obviously there was Aoife and Chloe in as well. So or Aoife,
correct answer.
Yeah.
So yes, I have, and I will continue to be an avid watcher from now on. Is it? And we'll make a night of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
We'll have a team bonding session over watching.
Over the recent.
And hopefully we're invited back on. Hopefully.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Our door is always open, except when it's locked.
And that way Mike will just get in anyway. So. Or Nick.
And we've had lots of questions asking if Paige can play for the men's team as well. So it's,
yeah, I'm free on Mondays, Saturdays. Give me a call.
That's it. You could play then. Not Monday though, when we've got the semi-final.
Oh yeah.
That's the one.
Oh yeah.
I'm unavailable then.
Yeah, you're unavailable.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Oh gosh.
what was I going to say? We beat the Arsenal and won the cup. Well done.
Well, hopefully that'll be the case again this season.
Yeah.
Just one. The draws.
Yeah.
I know today's was
live
mm-hmm. On 5 Live, and it was on the BBC website. But previous ones haven't been.
Yeah.
I think the last 16, not one top 5, if you like, side drew each other.
Yeah.
The big ones avoided each other in the quarters. There's 2 arguable big ones left in the semis that have avoided each other.
Is that Birmingham and Liverpool?
Birmingham and Liverpool have avoided each other, there is obviously, I'm not saying, do you know what, there's hot balls or whatever, but I think David had an issue with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a frustration from within clubs that it's not televised the way that the men's draw is, and it's not come across. I think there's a lot of talk about streaming games live, but they can't stream a cup draw live and things like that.
I think it's frustrating that you know, with the magnificent technology on show now, that you can't Facebook Live the draw.
Well, this goes out on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So
you know,
why they can't put an actual
the draw
FA
here?
Cup draw?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
they should
let's
have
go
done
again.
that. Yeah. Why they can't do that?
It is frustrating, but again, like like I think you said it on a previous show. You kind of, what you need to do is actually just, if that happens, you deal with what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bitter thing. Listen, we've just knocked Arsenal out.
Yeah.
And we've got a home draw. So do you know what? Bring Chelsea on, but.
Yeah.
But
if we want to win the cup, we enter.
You've got to beat
absolutely.
You're going to face them at some point.
You have got to beat big teams, yeah.
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 And look, our aim will be to beat Chelsea. You know, there is no other way. That will be a very difficult task, but my team will face many difficult tasks going forward.
Yeah.
So, it's frustrating that we can't have that, and maybe the FA will look at that going forwards. But again, I'm not. You've got to play whoever you play. It's a cup draw. So, hopefully going forwards that they can film it, televise it, so everybody can. Because I think that builds the excitement as well.
Watch it.
It isn't enjoyable to see your team drawn out in a cup draw. You know, in the men's FA Cup third round, when that draw is made, everybody's watching that to see their team get pulled out of the hat, and it is something that fans want to see and things like that.
Just wait to see it on Twitter.
Yeah,
you tweeted it first.
Yeah,
but that is the frustration. You'll get times. I think the quarter final, it was 11:40. It'll be announced. And at 11:35, journalists were tweeting the draw. And I was thinking, no, what? How are you supposed to?
He's got angry.
Do you know what? There is an impartiality. Do you know, if people are concerned about it being impartial, don't do things like that.
No, I agree.
Because that doesn't help at all, does it?
Definitely, that angry face will be floating across Facebook Live.
No, it will, yeah. But that is.
Yeah, I agree.
If people are concerned about it, don't make it even more of a talking point.
The only thing I don't know whether maybe the FA could be made aware of that by people. I don't know, and I think maybe the clubs.
I think a few Blues fans
maybe they will,
and I think Liverpool as well. There's a few Liverpool fans today, so
because they got the two big teams.
That's it. Yeah, they didn't want to avoid us. They didn't want to play us, obviously. But the fact that a Man City defender is there as well. They're left in the cup. And a Man City defender is doing the draw as well, but
she presented it very well. I mean, on radio, you don't know what's going on, but she sounded very good on the radio. So fair play to Jennifer.
Yeah.
People are getting worried.
Oh,
you've laughed twice tonight.
I know. Do you know what?
God,
do you know what? We've beat Arsenal in the cup.
Jason hates Paige and Marc
on the same show. Here's one for you, Chris. A question for Mr. Fun. Who is the best ladies player you've ever seen?
I have to say, Mr. Fun. When we're talking about Blues, normally, especially over the last few months, it's quite a downbeat.
Okay.
It's quite a downbeat lead that comes on here, and I do like to. Even when we're doing well, I like to keep everybody calm a little bit. But
okay.
The best ladies player I've seen ever. Oh,
nudge.
The best left wing back I've ever seen.
His name begins with P.
Who was from Liverpool but played in Italy. It's definitely Paige. Yeah. I've said before. I think.
She has got a bottle in her hand.
I would have to. Not just because he's here. I'd have to agree with Marc and go Laura.
That's a big shout.
Laura is, for someone who came into the game when the WSL started, she was Blues captain at the time, and that her partnership with Emily Westwood at centre back, that first couple of seasons, and she's just so welcoming. You mentioned about the fact you can talk to players, and the fact that for a Blues fan. I was watching someone in representing the shirt, representing the badge, and she was the captain, and she'd always come over. Me and my partner would get there quite early, and she, most of the time before the players even come out to train, and as soon as they come out, she'd come over to us and say hello and things like that. Mm-hmm. And she was at the Centre of Excellence games, the development games, watching, and she'd chat with us there and things like that. But just, a real rock.
Yeah,
I think you've seen that for England as well, and
I see that at home. To be fair.
Yeah.
I'm lucky for that.
But I mean, coming into the game, you got Carney, and I always loved Jodie Taylor when Jodie Taylor to play for us as well. Probably the best finisher I've seen at Blues. But
you're going to see another 4 though.
Well, Ellie coming on as well, and Charlie Wellings as well,
and Frida and Ellen, and then we got more coming through.
But I'd probably at a push, I'd have to say Laura. I think.
Good.
I think the real Mr. Fun has been
Close to following,
kidnapped, says Peter Taylor.
Yeah, Zorro. It'll all be back to normal next week when we get battered by Ipswich.
Find the horse and
There's
you'll
the
find
spirit.
and Daz said sorry for the ignorance, but when is the... I've missed it now.
Semi-final.
Semi-finals. Yes, semi-finals.
The semi-final is 3 weeks
Today.
Easter Monday. Unfortunately, Blues are playing Burton that day. So if it's a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock kick-off, we might be, a lot of the fans that would like to go, that are season ticket holders or Blues, will be struggling to go. But hopefully, we'll still get a decent attendance down there. And if people are fed up of Blues, then they're more than welcome to come down.
Catch the second half.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. When we're 3-0 down at half time to Burton, they can drive down to Solihull for the second half. Yeah.
And somebody called Jane Pugh. She must be from.
I
Chris
believe
Pugh
that is some
Appreciation.
sort of relative of mine.
Okay. She said a fab show tonight, a refreshing change to Zola Rabbit.
Oh no, you said it.
Blah, blah,
You said
blah.
rabbit.
I think I've only got
said rabbit, didn't it? It was
The
definitely
Zola
rabbit.
Rabbit debate.
Zola Rabbit, yeah.
Yeah, but it is nice to come in and have a positive chat, actually.
Well, that's what Blues Ladies are all about.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. That's why we signed Paige.
So if you like this, come down to the game.
Yeah.
10 times more.
Yeah. 100%.
Look at us plugging
Yeah,
it.
little promoter.
£6 a ticket.
Tip me at the end.
Where's the final held? Says Mike.
At the wonderful Wembley.
Really?
Yeah. Wonderful.
So we are actually
Tim asking the questions.
Really?
90
Yeah,
minutes from
yeah,
Wembley.
Yeah, we are 90 minutes.
We are
from
90
Wembley.
minutes from Wembley, basically.
Or potentially
It's not always
120.
been played at Wembley, though, has it?
No, only the last couple of years.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What sort of crowds are they? Decent?
The first
Last year was
23.
50.
Oh.
Close to
Something
50,
like that.
was it?
35
Really?
or something the first year or something that it was done.
Yeah.
And it was, I know Laura was captain for Notts County at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Against Chelsea when they won it. And
Horrendously sent off, if I remember rightly.
yes. No, that was the
Oh, is that the
against
Continental?
Arsenal, yeah,
Oh,
that was a Continental. But
It's pretty good, isn't it?
yeah, I think it was 2 London teams, but hopefully if we can get there, which is our aim, we can bring a whole lot of Brummies down to London. That's our aim.
Well, Robert Dawes just put, will Blues get coaches on if the ladies get to Wembley? That would be great if the club could put on supporters coaches down to Wembley for the day. And
It'd be wonderful to ask the question, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it would, yeah.
We need
if
to give
anybody
them-
Let
within
us
the
get
club
there and
listens
then
to
we'll-
our
We need to give them a
show.
question to ask first, don't
Yeah.
we? That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about all that afterwards if we do our job.
Okay. Are all ladies' games free to season ticket holders? Not sure if they still are they?
The men's season ticket holders, I don't think all of them are. The one against Liverpool that's going to be played at St Andrews is that the 7th?
Yes,
of May?
it is. of
Sunday
May.
the 7th of
Sunday
May.
the 7th of May. Good knowledge.
That one's going to be the at St Andrews against Liverpool, and that's free for season ticket holders of Blues. So hopefully we'll get a really good crowd in that one.
Brilliant. Robert thinks that you probably need to go to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because you're well out of
Appointments
character.
booked, don't worry.
Wembley again, definitely go to that. Sing ladies to victory and lift the cup, says Daz Hines.
Mike
Mr.
Shaw
Fun-
says, never mind 50,000 blue noses will be there to make a day of it.
I think you know that, but it could be quite.
That
a few
would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That would be
that'd
wonderful.
Fantastic, yeah. Brilliant. Nothing better than the train down to Wembley, says Daz.
Yeah.
Can you ask Mark if the women's team will be affected when the men get
When?
relegated?
So optimistic. When the men get relegated.
Well, I hope the men don't get relegated first and
No.
foremost. I don't think they will. But The question is, I don't think so. We never know until that point or that happens, but hopefully that doesn't happen. First and foremost, I'm sure they'll have enough to kind of stay up this season and then kick on going forwards under Zola. But no, you know what? We just need to do our job. That's all we can do. Regardless, we hope that we give a very good reason as to why we should be continually being supported, and hopefully that can grow, and hopefully if there's a product there we can invest going forwards, and the club have been exceptional so far, so hopefully that continues.
Fantastic. Right, then, okay, we've got to say goodbye to our guests.
Yes.
And thanks for coming in. Thanks to Marc Skinner. I was going to say Frank
Mark
Skinner.
Rin.
Nick,
Marc Skinner.
Mike,
And Paige Williams.
Paul.
And
Yeah.
thanks for joining in.
An hour and a half. That's flown by.
It has, it's gone. It's gone
Has.
very quickly.
we're on overtime, mate.
We'll have the agent on the phone. We're only booked for an hour.
So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you again next week. Good night. Ta-ra.
An historic first ever Premiership meeting of Birmingham and Aston Villa, and the 97th League derby between these rivals underway, and Ulbeck looking for an early opportunity to get through. It's cleared by Kenny Cunningham. Here's Gareth Barry. Angel is deep. Looked for the return to Barry, but it was cut out by Cisse. Angel carries on pressing. So talking of partnerships that have settled down quickly, Cisse and Savage seem to be making a name for themselves already in the engine room for Birmingham. Oh, Cisse completely off the ball. He's just slid in on
I think he's
Kinsella.
just lost his footing, to be fair there, Rob. It's quite a moist surface, and he was bombing in and he couldn't stop, really. You see there, just lost his balance. Thankfully, David Ellery knew all about it. But they've bedded in tremendously quickly.
Granger's ball across. Here's Devlin. He's made room for his own shot. They have Morrison and John in the box.
Yeah, again, Devlin proving dangerous. I think Graham Taylor will just want the youngster Samuel to get a little bit closer to his man. He cut him far too easily to get his shot in there, Devlin.
Devlin. Here's Kenner. He's got past Staunton. Morrison needs support in the box. Cisse and Johnson have got in there now. Cisse!
It was a mistake by Steve Staunton, really. Got too far in advance of the ball. And Morrison very intelligently picking out. It was a small target to pick out Aliou Cisse. And really, the Senegal captain should have done better with that.
Here's Granger. Well, Morrison was waiting his moment then. Alpine ensured that that moment never arrived. Here's Kenner. Devlin. Cunningham plays it in. Savage! Morrison! The freedom of the blue half of the city beckons for Clinton Morrison, if that turns out to be the winner. It's a goal that's been almost 15 years in the making, since the last league derby between these clubs, and it's Birmingham who've made the breakthrough.
Well, they've been putting quality balls into the box all half. And it was Steve Staunton that missed it. Oh no, it was Malberg, I beg your pardon. Savage doing well to react to that, because he couldn't have been expecting it, and Morrison doing even better to latch onto that loose ball. Full of confidence, as I said. He's took that away like a proven Premiership striker, and you can see what that means to Steve Bruce. They thoroughly deserve that goal. They've been by far the better team.
Cisse. Now Barry.
got on with the taking of the free kick very quickly. This is De La Cruz! Oh, off the bar! Samuel! Albeck pokes it through and over. How unlucky was De La Cruz?
Well, he was unlucky, and it was the quick thinking of Gareth Barry, getting that free kick moving. A slight deflection, I think, which is full Nico Vasson.
Dublin does get the flick on this time to Vassal. Now Samuel. It's De La Cruz. Touch wasn't weighty enough for Dublin. There's Melberg. Flicked on by Kinsella. Oh, Granger's let it run, but he's offside. Darius Vassal is offside.
Great stroke of good fortune for Birmingham, because it was Martin Granger that made the mistake, the mix-up with him and Cunningham.
Morrison helps it on to Damien Johnson. And he's clipped by Alpay. And Alpay has already been booked, remember.
Oh, he's in trouble now, isn't he?
He is in big trouble. David Ellery's had the case for the prosecution applied by Clinton Morrison. But what is his own form of justice? Will it just be a free kick?
I'm not sure there was all that much contact, to be honest with you.
Granger who takes! So close! Enkelman got his hand to it, might have hit the woodwork anyway.
Yeah, great execution. I don't think the keeper was ever in real trouble here.
Seller. Cunningham. Ronnie Johnson. Now Vassal. De La Cruz. Dublin's waiting. Didn't land for him. Vasson gets it away. Samuel pulls it back. Vassal! Wrong side of the post.
Yeah, well, it's the whole 1-2, simple enough tactic. Big ball up to the far post for Dion Dublin, who did enough to put off Vasson. It's a difficult header, that one. He's jumping from a standing start, Vassal. Did well to get up.
John. Devlin. Savage. Granger.
Mistakes so often decide these derby matches, and it's a tragic error from Enkelman that surely now gives Birmingham the derby win.
Well, have you ever seen anything like it? These scenes here, sure the stewards or police should be getting these idiots off the pitch, because that's the last thing we need. But look at this, just didn't even take his eye off it, really, just a lack of concentration. And you see keepers do that quite a bit, but rarely does it end up in the net.
Just consult with his assistant to make sure the goalkeeper had got a touch to it, but I think Enkelman's expression really told its own story. Steve Staunton is saying the goalkeeper didn't touch it and is being yellow carded for his troubles, but really you could tell from the haunted look on Enkelman's own face that it was that sort of goal.
Well, he's not appealing too harshly, is he? Maybe just connected with the bottom of his studs, I don't know. It's the faintest of touches if he did. And who comes up with the decision of the fact that he did touch it, I don't know. As I said, you can often tell by the reaction of a player. I mean, if there was any contact, it was the faintest of contacts, just under his studs, and it's impossible for referee David Ellery to actually have been able to tell whether he did get any contact. It'd be interesting to see if the referee will speak afterwards and just explain his decision. think it took him as much by surprise as the whole of St Andrews.
And here's Horsfield, Alpine's mistake. Jeff Horsfield! 3-0, 3 points for Birmingham, but more importantly, the pride of the second city for the blue half of the city.
Another individual mistake after the Enkelman fiasco. It's Alpay, just a lack of concentration again. All he has to do is boot that back upfield, but he tries to be clever, taking past Horsfield, completely gets it wrong, and the substitute tucks it away very nicely indeed. Rule one, as far as defenders go, is to just clear your lines under those circumstances. Alpay didn't do it, and he got punished very heavily for it.
Melberg's ball in. Here's Gareth Barry. De La Cruz. Pulled across towards the far post, left for Samuel. Samuel! Across the place.